Hi there, comic friends. I'm Travis, and it's my time to talk about Emerald City Comic Con. So, Emerald City Comic Con 2018, end of... No, it really wasn't the end of February. It was all March. The very, very beginning of March. As always, I always have lots of fun, spend way too much money, and all of that kind of good stuff. Jen Bartlett was did the cover art this time around. She was there. Didn't really get to talk to her. Her booth was massive. I mean, there was always a line there. I kind of wanted to get a Girl Gang shirt from her, but I didn't want to fight the line to get it, and I wasn't sure if people thought maybe I'd be weird if I was wearing a Girl Gang shirt. Anyway, I should have got one. It occurs to me. Anyway, so I'm going to do this video. I'm going to do it kind of reverse order what typically I've done in the past. I'm going to show comics that I got first and some other goodies that I got. And then I'll talk con experience at the end of it. Because I know lots of times, lots of people aren't interested in that in the first place. They just want to see the bling and go on about their day. Because I got some books signed and I like to talk about that part too. And what creators had to say or didn't have to say or whatever. A lot of the stuff, because it's been 2 or 3 weeks now since the con, a lot of stuff that I learned at the con are now a general knowledge, so I don't have any deep, dark secrets as a general rule. I'm going to start out with comic books. Some of you know I've been working on the first volume of Brave and the Bold. I have whittled it down. There's about 50 issues left I have to get, so I'll show you the issues that I got this time around, and I'll talk a little bit about that too. None of these are in immaculate condition or whatnot. Matter of fact, one of the booths that's there at Emerald City Comic Con, the vendors, the booth is called Randy's Readers, and they're my kind of comic. They're not insanely priced. They're beat to hell. They're reader copies, and I am perfectly happy for my collection to have a reader copy because largely, with the exception of a few, very few pieces, I am largely just interested in having the comic book in my collection so I can read it. So it doesn't have to be 9.8 or 7.5 or higher, kind of a thing, slabbed and whatnot. It's just I don't have an interest in that. So first I'm going to show off my old comics that I got this time around. What's funny is some of these I swear I have, but my app says I don't, and I used my Comixology app, Comixology app, to determine which ones I needed. It worked pretty good. There, I also actually had a physical list too, because it occurred to me with the physical list, it was a lot easier for me to run a line as I'm going from booth to booth, because the app only does me good for like the first 1 or 2 booths, and then I can't remember sometimes. You start seeing so many comic book covers, you can't remember which ones you picked up and haven't, and I didn't want to pick up more than one copy of something at the same con. So then I made myself a physical list that I could run lines through too, so I had to go all analog. Anyway, so this is issue number 55 of Brave and the Bold, Middleman and Atom. Some good stuff there. Yeah, I mean, Middleman show up quite a bit, it seems like. So does the Atom, too. It seems like there's some recurring characters that show up quite a bit. So, anyway, that's issue 55. I would say that is, I want to say, like, 1962? I'm saying that, and I have no idea. Do you care? We're going to make this video long, so I guess deal with that. So I'm going to look it up because I can't remember now. Now that I've said that. Get down here to the Brave and the Bold. I think it's the 60s. So, as I'm looking for it, one of the things I found is I'm below 50 and below is mostly what I have to pick up now. It's getting to be where the books are starting to venture more to $20 and up range to buy the books. And that starts to get outside of the range that I am normally comfortable with buying. So it may be along 1964 is when it came out. And during this era, in the Silver Age, The Brave and the Bold came out bi-monthly. So you get one in September, or you get one, and then you wouldn't get one until, November, kind of a thing. So not as many then. But so now that the books are starting to get down to $20 a book, and I've got like 50 issues left or more to get, then it's starting to get a little spendy. I spend that kind of money on art. I have a hard time spending that kind of money on comic books. Anyway, issue number 74. Once again, Brave and the Bold. More Metal Men and Batman. 74, I think is late 60, 68, something like that. Do you care? I'll look it up real quick. I have my app still open here. 74, right? 76. Okay, so Silver Age books, clearly. This one's actually okay. Shape. Andrew is the artist on some of these during this era. The next books I'm excited about because these are O'Neill's, right? So this is number 79. Track of the Hook. Yeah. Some dead man there, but yeah, that's O'Neill. Cool stuff. I happened to be looking as I was at a DC panel, and I was sitting towards the front row, and I was checking this stuff out, and it was the DC writer panel, and the guy sitting next to me is one of the heads of DC, you know, head of marketing or something like that, and he was pretty excited to check out my comics too. As I was checking them out, I was getting a closer look at them. I mean, I bought them, but I really wanted to, you know, thumb through them while I was waiting for the panel to get started and that sort of thing and whatnot. Here's issue number 80 with the Creeper. I love the Creeper. Creeper's a fun character. I think you should bring the Creeper back. Helmgrit is his name. Big old giant bug dude. I haven't read most of these. I've kind of thumbed through them. Some of them have some good Nemesis stories in the back of them. Some of them actually have some Robot Man stories in the back of them. Isn't there O'Neill, I'm sure? The dead man on there. We're friends, Batman, but you must die so I can live! 86, that's 86. Number 86, sorry. Here is number 87. This is with the new Wonder Woman. So this is the depowered Wonder Woman. This is the Diana Prince, you know, I know martial arts and judo and that sort of thing, Wonder Woman. I've actually thumbed through this one. It looks pretty sexy. So, yeah, 15 center there. Wildcat. Wildcat's another character he seems to team up with quite a bit. This is issue 88. Count 10 and die. And then issue 89. Phantom Stranger. Nice. Love it. I like that green. That dark kind of green. Seems like there's quite a few covers during this era that had that dark green. Some Batman. That was a popular background color, huh? Seems like it is. I got issue 90. Still in the 15-cent comics there. So Adam Strange. Character who's... Adam Strange is going to show up in a TV show here pretty soon. Krypton, I think is it. A young Adam Strange shows up in that Krypton. Yeah, before Superman on Krypton. Anyway, whatever. Doesn't matter about these comic books anyway, right? Here's one of the Teen Titan ones that 2 years ago when I was at Emerald City Comic Con, I couldn't pick up because Longbox Review picked it up before me because he's a big Teen Titans fan, so he picked up these Teen Titans ones before me. This year there were some more there, so I picked them up. This one's actually in pretty decent shape too. This is issue 94. Rebels in the Streets. I just love that. Concentration camp for adults only. Awesome. And then issue 102, another Teen Titans one. This is a bigger and better. So 52 pages, 25 cents. Gotham under Urban Renewal there. Yeah, cool. We get some much newer ones of the first volume. 151. This is the Flash in it. That's a Paro cover, but I bet you inside is Infantino. It seems like most of these team-ups with the Flash, they would have Infantino come over and do the art on it, it seemed like. So, yeah, fun stuff. Ones I'm not necessarily interested in, but to fill out my collection, obviously. 173, Batman and the Guardians of the Universe, which to me just seems strange. Looking forward to reading the Nemesis down there. God, does he look like some sort of Ken doll? I like the Nemesis character. I like the stuff he gets into and whatnot. But it seems strange to have Batman teaming up with with the Guardians. Somebody wrote in the comic book. I don't know what that number was supposed to mean. Anyway. And then a Green Lantern one. This is 174. Part of me thinks that Eric from Lone actually we picked up all of these, and that's why I didn't get them the last time I was there. It's 174. 188, teaming up with Rose and Thorn. They're fighting Nazis. So I'm really looking forward to that. I kind of thumbed through this one real quick. Looking forward to reading it. Seeing the pictures of them beating up Nazis. This is all Jim Aparo stuff at this point. Almost all of these are Jim Aparo. They're all Jim Aparo covers. But Jim Aparo did like 99% of Batman Brave and the Bold during this era. So, except for this one. This is a, well, Jim Aparo cover, but it's probably Infantino inside. 194. And that's it. So, I am missing just a couple now that are holes in my, in the Brave and the Bold as far as the high numbers. I'm missing like 93. I'm missing 81, 82, and I haven't figured out, and 83, I haven't figured out why I'm missing that gap there. And then I'm missing, like, from 46 down. But, yeah, then you're starting to venture off into Golden Age books almost. So, 44 is the oldest one I have. Or is it 47? It's 47 is the oldest one that I have. And it's in 1963, but then they're not superheroes. I did see some really cool ones though. I saw some Cave Carson, which before I would have not thought anything about, but after the Young Animals run of Cave Carson and Cybernetic Eye and stuff, I'm curious about that character. I've never read anything of that character prior, so I did see some of that. But the books I saw were like $30 and $40. I mean, they were, you know, some percentage off. But that was the face value that was stuck on them, and that starts to get steep. And by then, I had bought some other high-end, high-ticket items, and so I didn't get it. But there were lots of comics to browse, but not having an intent to buy something in particular beyond the Brave and the Bold makes it really hard for me just to look at comics and not just want to buy everything, because everything has some sort of cool, fun, whatever to it. So I was just thumbing through. They had some old books that were like, you know, $2 a book, or if you got 3, you got them for $5 or something like that. So I just had to be pulling stuff out, and I always gravitate towards Classic Illustrated anyway. And this Classic Illustrated is issue number 5, but it's Moby Dick. I'm a huge Moby Dick fan, so I had to have it because it's Moby Dick and Classic Illustrated. And so good stuff in here. The story, I've read it. It's really strange. It starts out really slow and wants to hit like every beat that is Moby Dick. And then by the end of it, it's like, he fights the whale and it's done. Kind of at the end, which is pretty funny. And the coloring goes off the rails at the end of this. Ahab is like a beet juice red for large portions of him. I don't think he's covered in blood, but it's kind of nuts in there. And at the end of this, it tells you, hey, go read the real great American novel at the end of it. But anyway, so because I got this, I thought, well, I'm picking up one. I might as well pick up 2 more so I get 3 for $5 as opposed to just the $2, right? So I just start kind of thumbing through stuff just to see what like a random comics across. Of course, I always look at some detective comics, right? So I picked up this issue of Detective Comics. It's in pretty rough shape. I mean, the plastic bag always gives the illusion, but it is heavily crinkled. It doesn't quite look like somebody put it in their pocket, but, and then of course big black mark up there by the price of it. But it is $4.46. I believe this is a Jim Aparo. It's a Jim Aparo cover. I'm thinking Jim Aparo does the inside too. I mean, that's the classic Jim Aparo Batman right there. So yeah, I'll dig it for that. Bone Chiller, Slaughter and Silver. No idea. Except I do know that when I opened up the inside of this is like 1972, I think. I want to say. Could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But the stories in it say, there's this big editorial box at the bottom that says that these stories take place after all the stories that are being told elsewhere in the Batman universe. So, if this was a modern book, this modern book would piss me off. If something dramatic was happening in Batman, and I'm reading Batman, and then I'm reading this, and I know Batman survives and goes on to do whatever else. This is Len Wein written. Len Wein written, and Jim Aparo drawn inside, now I remember. Anyway, so I got that, because, you know, cool old detective Batman, you know, whatever. I like those, they're always fun. And then I got this just because I like Ravens a whole bunch, which I think is funny because, so this is, Ripley's, believe it or not, True Demon and Monsters, right? But it's Ravens of Doom, that's why I picked it up. Of course, there's not ravens in the cover, it's vultures picking at this guy on the cover. They were called feather demons, omens of disaster, weird, eerie, authentic. Big old fold there in this gold key comic, but it'll be some fun. Some good chuckles there. Anyway, so that's it. That's it for my old comics. Not tons again. Largely because I spent big money other places. Let's get to some modern books. I only actually picked up 3, technically 4. We'll get to the 4th one later on. 4 modern books. One that I picked up is this. It is Deep Ender, written by John Lees and art by Jules Rivera. I got it signed to me because I'm happy to have stuff signed to me. So it says, Travis, just keep swimming, and it's from John Lee, the writer. He is Scottish. He has a very, very thick Scottish accent, the kind that lots of Americans would need subtitles under him to talk. And he's a very excited talker, and the more excited he gets, the thicker the brogue gets, the accent gets. So it was fun to talk to him. He also writes a comic called Sync. That's what gravitated me toward. I had heard about this comic on Twitter, but I gravitated towards his table because I was talking with the artist for Punk's Not Dead, and he was talking about language in the comics using, English, British words in comics, and how would that affect me as an American reader, kind of a thing. And then we got talking about how this guy, when he puts Scottish stuff in it, especially in Sync, the characters say all kinds of stuff that even as a Brit, the artist for Punk Is Not Dead, wasn't sure exactly what was being said. I mean, it's written, you can kind of read it, but what the hell does that mean? Kind of a thing. So, fun conversation, and I had a conversation with him about that too. I bought this book. This is basically a rom-com. It's a rom-com about I believe, a guy who's come back from the war, Afghanistan or something like that, and he needs some therapy, and part of the therapy that's suggested to him is to swim, so he goes to swim as part of his therapy, and romance or whatever ensues, I suppose. So, yeah, I look forward to checking it out. I have not read it, have not read it at all, no idea, but look forward to checking it out, see what that's like. Just been too busy. I've been busy reading current comics to read old comics. That's a good and bad thing, right? I also picked up the latest trade of Trekker, Rites of Passage. Gets produced as kind of a web comic of sorts, I believe. It's by Ron Randall. Ron Randall has been around in the comic book world for a very long time. He's an inker on a lot of stuff. I actually own a Doom Patrol page that he did. He filled in for an issue on the run of Doom Patrol right before New 52 started and whatnot. But this is his book. I just think this is the second one. I haven't read the first. Ron Randall writes a story, so I should not have to do that. So I gotta jump into this. I think there's like a couple days left before the Kickstarter ends. This was put out by Dark Horse, but Dark Horse says they won't produce his next book for like a year plus, and that wasn't fast enough for Ron, so he decided he would just do it himself. His Kickstarter has been successfully kickstarted, so if I pay my $15 or whatever, I'm going to get the book, and it's like extra thicker than what this is. But I bought this from him, I talked with him and whatnot. It's about Mercy. The main character here is Mercy. She's kind of a bounty hunter, kind of a thing. It's classic. Of course, he drew a picture in there for me and, signed it to me. But, just looking at it, it is classic comic books, classic storytelling, the good stuff. I said I just barely started to read this while I was on my trip, and then put it down to read some of the modern stuff and whatnot. Yeah, Bounty Hunter Mercy St. Clair is without peer, but her skill as a babysitter leaves something to be desired in this one. So she's safeguarding a vulnerable young woman en route to a homeworld. Seems like easy money, but of course you know how that always pans out, right? So, looking forward to this, because I'm looking forward to the classic. I like the style, inking matters in here and all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, some good stuff. Good stuff there. And then the other modern thing that I bought was Rice Boy, and I was there at the booth. The producers of this, they produce a bunch of different stuff. Iron Circus Comics. They have a whole bunch of different books there, anthologies of horror, anthologies of sci-fi, and whatnot. And this was kind of like a little boy travels through a Salvador Dali painting and something else is how it's directed to me. I can't remember exactly what it was at this point. And for some reason, the title stuck in my head. I've talked with Rez about it since then, and I think I saw it on her channel at one point. She's a big Rice Boy fan. So Rice Boy is a surreal fantasy graphic novel set in a world called Overside. A lonely creature called Rice Boy and an ageless machine called the One Electronic venture through a strange world to fulfill a prophecy with implications few understand. And it is simple art, but parts of it look great. I mean, you've got this character in here. Look there, he's projecting Frank Zappa's face right there. So he looks like Prince 4 from Saga, as far as that goes. It looks part Adventure Time. It just has a lot of really cool visuals and whatnot going on. So I'm looking forward to jumping into this also, because it just looks like it's going to be a head trip, and I like comics that are going to be some sort of a head trip. So looking forward to checking that out. So then, of course, I said I'm not buying art, and of course that means I bought art, right? Because that's how it always works with me. So I wasn't going to buy art because I need to get art in frames so I can get them hung up before I buy a bunch more art. But no, I went and bought art anyway. The Funarama brothers were both at the con, so that's Sebastian and Max Funarama. They do a lot of art I really like. Right now, Sebastian is doing the art on Dr. Starlight, the latest the Black Hammer spin-off books. Just came out like a week or so ago. But they both did a lot of Abe Sapien work. They both have done a lot of Magnolia Universe stuff, and I really like them for the Abe Sapien. They both traded on the 30-some issues of, like 36 issues of Abe Sapien. They traded back and forth on that. They've done some Lobster Johnson work. They've done recently have done some Superman. I think it was Sebastian. I think Sebastian did an issue of Superman where John and the next door neighbor girl go out to the misty swamp and get lost out there, and there's like a haunted house, so it's really spooky. So it matches their art style, kind of thing. So they were both there, so I thumbed through pages of their art. Thursday I did. Friday I did. I think on Saturday is when I pulled the trigger on buying a page of art from each of them. So, let's see. Let's do Max first. So this is my page of Max Funarama art. This is Abe Sapien from issue number 35, page 17. In this scene, Abe is talking to a woman who basically she's human, but she embodies old England and the Feyland and whatnot, and he's kind of having a metaphysical head trip, but his body's going along with him, and he's in this other somewhat kind of a dimension under the sea. It's the last little bits and pieces of what's left of old England, and this scene is basically her telling Abe that no, this is not the place for you. You can't stay here. You know, Hellboy traveled through here. He went on his way. You definitely can't stay here. There are other things for you. You need to travel on and do that. And it's by them having that kind of a sad conversation, a realization that he can't stay there. And I like the storytelling in this. I like the inking and whatnot. I love the waves there at the bottom. As far as a piece of art hung by the wall, I think it's going to look interesting, and I'm going to enjoy it quite a bit. I'm real happy about getting it. But yeah, really cool. Here's the issue that it's from. I'll pull out the issue and we'll get to page 17 if you're interested. So here they are in the kind of England of sorts, what's left of it, the spiritual embodiment of England, as it were. It's got this giant tree there that Hellboy helped raise. But here's the page. So there's the page that I have colored, and here's the actual page. Do you care? If you care for those kind of things. But anyway, I'm super excited about that. Really reasonable priced as far as that goes. They had an art dealer. They're Argentinian, and so, you know, their English is way better than my speaking Argentinian, for sure. So it's fun to get to talk to them. I talked craft with both of them. I talked craft with Sebastian more. I'll show you why here in a second. So I picked up a page from Sebastian too, and for him I picked up a page of Lobster Johnson, and it's from the Ascent of the Lotus is what I picked up a page from him. I'm super stoked by it. Here is the inked page. Curiosity, when I bought it, I also got the penciled roughs. So here's the penciled roughs of this page. And it is from issue 2, and it is page 15. It's where the monkeys wearing kabuki masks have attacked Lobster Johnson, and he shoots the first one and blows it off the. So he blows it off the building there, and he's looking out over it like, ha, you know, and you can see his wound, and then he's suddenly swarmed by a bunch of other monkeys with kabuki masks. That is just a sexy page. Anyway, here's the roughs, and so what he does is he roughs it out in pencil. At this time, this is what he was doing. He'd rough it out in pencils, and then he would run the pencils through his scanner, and he would print out a blue line of the roughs of his pencils, and then he would ink over that. So I got both pieces of art. So I'm probably going to mount it like this. So you can see both processes and whatnot. I don't feel like I got a copy, because, I mean, this is the original inks. But man, just look at that. That is just super cool. Really like this action page. So I talked to him quite a bit about this. He actually doesn't do this process anymore. This is an older process for him. Now he roughs on digitally. He roughs digitally and then prints it out and then inks it. And he says it actually takes him longer. He's not sure what he's going to do at this point, because if you digitally, you can keep zooming in and adding more detail and whatnot, and keep trying for perfect, which he knows he shouldn't be doing, because that process should happen in the inking. But it was really interesting to get to talk to him about that. I really enjoyed talking to him quite a bit. This page is just super cool. I originally thought I was going to attempt to buy another Ape Sapien page from him, but then I saw that he had these pages there, and I remember this scene. I'll show you the actual page that it's from too. I loved this storyline anyway. Just having these monkeys with kabuki masks and whatnot. They're just kind of nuts, and it was exciting and whatnot. So here he is fighting him, right? So the monkeys have machine guns. They have big old Tommy guns, and they're attacking him with their kabuki masks and whatnot. And then here's the page I purchased, and it is a silent page, other than the exclamation point and the blam blams, which are not on the. That's a lettering thing, not on the art. But there is him shooting the monkey, and then him looking down off of there, and he's got these wounds on his side there, and then him being attacked by the monkeys. So yes'm. Pretty cool. Yeah. Very happy with that. Also, some cool stuff. And so then there was the stuff that I hummed and hawed about, because there's a significant. Well, I haven't really talked prices, but there's a significant price difference between the two pieces I just showed you and the piece I'm going to show you. So, Sean Jason, or is it Jason Sean? Sean Jason, I get his name wrong. was there at the con. He's doing lots of Spawn right now. He had tons of Spawn artwork there, and I was looking over the Spawn artwork a whole bunch. And it looks really, really, really cool. I mean, it is some gorgeous stuff, and it's Jason Shawn Alexander. Anyway, he had some pages from Frostbite. He actually had the cover of the woman leaping up into the air in the ice blue sky with her basically javelin that she's going to stab into another vehicle, a la Road Warrior, except for on snowmobilers. But his other pages there, and this one page I kept coming back. And then I have conversations with him a little bit. Finally got the guts to ask him how much it was. Then I tried to decide, gee, do I want that? Oh, it's going to look so cool. So I bought a page. I bought a page of Frostbite. It's from issue 5, a page midway in, and it is huge. I mean, check this thing out. So this is Jason Shawn Alexander art. He uses some photo reference in his work and whatnot, but I just love his dynamic ink style and whatnot. And so here we are. I mean, okay, so, right? Just a size comparison. He works in, this is 14 by 17, basically, and this is 18 by 20. It's just freaking huge in comparison to any other piece of art I have. It is nuts in how big it is. But yeah, here we go. So good storytelling. I love this page, the storytelling. Got this quiet moment up here of two people hugging. Clearly she's looking over her shoulder, over her front shoulder. She sees this guy coming with his polar bear, right? And then he lets loose the chain, and the polar bear comes to attack. Look at that page at the bottom, that panel. It is so visceral. And if you could, I don't know if my camera's picking up because I have it in this protector. But man, you can look at it in person. It is so visceral. He used like some whiteout paint mixture for some of the slobber coming off of the polar bear, right? It is just, it's just very visceral. That's the word I want to use to describe it. Just really, really, really cool. Yeah, so let me dig out the page for you. It just super cool. This is the issue before the end, and so here's the page in color. And you know what? Once it's colored, it actually loses some detail. And this small in comparison to how big he works, my art has way more detail than some of this. The detail is kind of lost in some of this area versus my art. But look at that. Just super, super cool. I'd be more excited by this. And the fact that it's so huge. And of course, what was also fun, I bought this, right? And I'm walking around like this at the con with it for the rest of Saturday. And of course, everybody's like, wow, it's huge. All the other artists I run into and whatnot and stuff. So kind of fun to brag about the fact that I owned it and whatnot. But yeah, super excited. Had him sign it there. Make sure the art was signed. I didn't take my, I did not take my House of Pennant art. If anybody noticed on Twitter, if you follow me on Twitter, I was talking about I have 2 pages of House of Pennants. I was going to take them, have them signed by Ian Burcham because none of the art's signed. Decided not to because I was nervous about it. I should have taken them and just had them signed. It would have been no big deal. I had a great conversation with him. I had him sign my House of Pennants pages. So I talked to him about House of Tenet. I got to see about 7 or 8 pages of his new comic book that we won't see here in the United States for probably, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years, called Little Bird. I follow him on Instagram, and he shows work in progress of doing that. It's going to be a French comic first, and then they plan on releasing it as an image comic later on. It's so much his kind of style of artwork and whatnot, but he had it out there on his phone, so he blew it up, let me scroll through it. No dialogue, but I got to see the full colored work of it, and it looks awesome. I'm super excited about that. I talked to him about that issue of Batman Eternal that he did, that a lot of you out there that follow me on YouTube, you absolutely hated. You lost your mind over the fact that one issue where they're in South America, where it's just really strange, and he does the artwork for it. I talked to him about that. That was lots of fun. He loved it. He thought it was fun to do the Batman issue. He really loved the dude's comments, you know, that were like across the, you know, across the internet. They're losing their minds over him doing Batman art and whatnot. And it was just fun. He was great. He was a really fun guy to talk to. He was really interesting. I watched him work on a little bit of art while I was there throughout the weekend, so that was kind of cool too. I'm gonna maybe disappear off screen here for a second. Grab my wad of, this is my wad of signed comics. Let's go through this really quick because I don't know that it matters a whole lot to anybody else but me. So, Mother Panic issue #1, I had Jodie Hauser sign it. She was awesome. I talked to her multiple times about the book. Just I would think of other things. What really kills me is I kept forgetting to ask her about the weird symbolism that's in the book, right? We all keep talking about that, and I'm like, oh, if I meet him, I'm going to ask him about that. And I forgot about it, and I remembered it at a Vertigo panel, because they were all at the Vertigo panel. It sounds to me like they're kind of acting like a the Young Animal stuff is kind of under Vertigo. At least they talked about it under the Vertigo stuff. And I was going to ask her that because usually you're allowed at the end of the panel to ask questions. There was no time for questions by the end of it. So boo hiss as far as that goes. So I didn't get to ask her about it. Kind of bummed out. Anyway, so I had her sign it. I had Tommy Lee Edwards sign it. You know, he's the guy who did the original books, doing the covers and whatnot. I was going to buy some art from him. You know, his art looks better colored, to be quite honest with you. He wasn't too excited about comics. I talked with him because he had kept tweeting for a while that he was going to be doing an arc that he was going to write and draw. And I kind of went, so what's going on with you in comics and, you know, Mother Panic or whatever? And he's like, oh, yeah, I was doing an arc on that and I hated it. Hated everything about it. Hated it completely. Not even doing comic books right now. He's doing a bunch of other work and whatnot. And he goes, yeah, when I get back to comics, I just want to do comics that I want to do. I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't know if he's having a bad day or what, but he wasn't too thrilled. He wasn't too thrilled. And that was kind of like, oh, man. So I don't know. Don't know what the experience was with that or whatever. But anyway, have it signed. It was interesting talking with them and whatnot about the book. And Mom is going to be back in the book. Their Mom will be in the new version of Mother Panic, so we don't need to panic. I've talked about that on a number of other videos, so it's not anything new anymore. So I stopped by Charles Soule's booth so I could have him sign the last issue of Letter 44, and of course he wrote on the end. Signed it and then said the end again up there. So maybe someday I'll come across Albuquerque and have him draw something out too if I ever at a con that he is at. I got a sampling of his book Oracle. We talked a little bit about that and whatnot. He tried selling me on curse words. I told him I'd picked up the first couple issues and wasn't feeling it despite having a character in there with a lovely beard. He's like, yeah, okay, fine, cool. So I think he wanted to talk to me less after that. But I got a sampling of his book, Oracle. It's coming out. He basically says you like his writing, you'll like Oracle. So whatever that is worth. I talked with Jack T. Cole, the artist for The Unsound. I absolutely love the art in The Unsound. Tons. So I'm like, man, I really dig this. You know, what's next for you? Because I want to be on whatever it is you're doing next. And he's doing a secret project that has not been announced yet with John Christmas? Last name's Christmas. Writer's name is Christmas. Is it John Christmas? Boy, you know, I need to carry a recorder with me. Just like I remember what people say. Not that really when I officially quote people. You know, I don't want to be bleeding cool or anything stupid like that. But it's from my own memory because enough time goes by and then I start to forget. Anyway, he's doing a project that's going to be out from Image, I believe. So whatever that's going to be, I'm getting it. Because, man, this guy's Jack T. Cole's artwork on The Unsound was really, really good. Just really visually stimulating. So, I got issue #1 of Batgirl and the Birds of Prey sign. You people go, hey, Travis, I pay attention to all your videos. I heard you talk not great things about this comic and whatnot. Yeah, I never really ended up dropping it because they had some issues with it, and I felt like I needed to start trimming stuff and whatnot at the time. So it went by the wayside. Elements of it I really like. I like the Benson sisters. Both Julie and Shauna Benson. They are great. I love the panels they were on. They were fun to talk to their booth. Lots of times writers are kind of weird to talk to the booth because they don't, I mean, unless you don't own the stuff and you're buying from it, they don't really, you know, have the same kind of wares to sell and whatnot. but they were really cool. They had a struggle to get to the con, some flight delays that caused us some issues. They were great on panels. They were very entertaining. They were cool to talk to at their booth. You know, what's next for you ladies? Because this is their first comic, and I'm willing to cut them slack if this is their first comic, because it wasn't bad. The stuff that was wrong, some of the stuff I had issues with should have been picked up by the editor, to be quite honest. Anyway, they have some announcement of the new books they're working on, but they couldn't announce them until WonderCon. Dan Didio told them they could not announce it here at Emerald City Comic Con, that they couldn't announce it until WonderCon. So like, great, you know. Look forward to that. They were great to chat with. I'm happy to have the book. Like I said, for me, a lot of times getting the book signed is an opportunity for me to have a conversation. So very much enjoyed getting to talk to them about that. I have my Batwoman issue number 1 signed by both Tynan the Fourth and Marguerite Bennett. Marguerite Bennett is always lovely to talk to. She is probably one of the classiest looking and acting creators at cons. She is just a lovely, lovely human being to have a conversation with. I had the same experience with Tynan that I always do. He's cool. He's a nice guy. He seems a little bit aloof, and I'm not sure what conversation I'm supposed to have with him to have him more engaged. I've seen him talk with other people excited and engaged. Maybe it's because I don't like Tim Drake, and Tim Drake is his favorite character. I don't know. At any rate, he was cool. I'm not saying he was bad. He seems very much more friendly to other people than he does me. But no, I had them sign it. That was cool. I also had Marguerite Bennett sign, of course, my Animosity #1. Talked with her more about this book. She's really happy that I'm buying it in singles. She's really happy with that. I'm shocked that they're letting her do her kind of weird book and whatnot. Trades are selling decently, but of course, she did mention that she was really thrilled to have me buying the singles, because it really does take the singles to keep it going. You know, she has that the only reason that Insects didn't continue on is because the single issues weren't selling enough for them to continue with it. So they wanted to go on and do other things that might be more financially stable for them to do. So talking about that was lovely. Of course, I had Tynan the Fourth sign my first issue of Detective Comics from the Rebirth issues. Of course, he's going off the book now on to other stuff. He's helping Snyder write that Justice League crossover thing that's going on for 4 issues. And then they didn't say what was next, but it wasn't in the Gotham universe. So he's telling his Gotham story now. Anyway, so I had him sign that too, which is cool. It's decent to talk to. The creators of Kill Rock Stars was there. Both Jill Harris and Megan Hutchins were both there. Kelly Fitzpatrick was there unofficially at the con, walking her dog, Archie, around somewhere. I could not find her. I mean, I kind of double-checked every blue-haired woman that I saw walking around, because I know that she has blue hair, but I could not catch her to have her sign this also. But they both signed it. Megan Hutchinson is really cool to talk to. She is very older goth chick cool. She just really is. I got this advert that's stuck in the front of it. But really cool to talk to them. This is actually a photo print of the second season of Kill Rock Stars. I mean, it's painted on photo paper. Can you hear that? It's kind of wild. Anyway, so yeah, I've really enjoyed this book quite a bit. It's been a lot of fun, and like I said, Megan Hutchinson, she's cool. She's cool creator. Jairus is fine too. She was more interested in talking, so I talked with her more. The two of them sat together. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool. You know, I'm gonna keep getting this as long as I keep getting this. I have to check out some other stuff that maybe she works on down the road, because I liked her vibe. I liked her vibe. Sometimes that sells me on checking out more stuff from a creator. I had Rodriguez sign my Hadrian Wall. Once again, as per usual, Kyle Higgins was there. I could never find him when I was around to get him to sign this. I don't think I have Cal. No, I do have Cal signed by him finally. It only took me 3 cons to get Cal signed. But you know, maybe at some point I'll get him to have sign this too. Really like his artwork. he was super busy. I didn't feel like bugging him to ask him what was next, what comic was he working on next, because he was working on a bunch of commissions. So I kind of didn't want to take him away from work too much because it was work. Let's see. So here's my House of Penance. I had him sign issue number 1 and issue number 2. I actually have pages from both issues, so that's why I had him sign both those issues. I thought about having to sign all of them, but then decided not to. So I just brought these, had him sign that, had a great conversation with him, so that was cool. Conversation we've already had. Oh, this is the, I'm sorry, I had number 1. This is the other page, another book that I had a page in. Let's see here. Not very organized. Can you tell? Let's see here. Punk is Not Dead. So this is the cover of Punk is Not Dead I brought with me. It's the ECCC cover. He was like, oh, good cover choice. I'm like, oh man, I actually really wanted... Now after I saw his cover, I liked his cover actually better than the ECCC cover. So I had him sign this, and then I bought an issue from him and had him sign it. Also, Martin Simons, great artist. This book is gorgeous. It's smart. He was awesome to talk to. I talked craft with him. I talked about page layout with him and whatnot. I stopped to talk to him a couple times. This is his first trip to America and his first con in America was Emerald City Comic Con. So me being the good steward of American comics that I was trying to be, went back a number of times to check with him because I talked with him on Thursday. He's like, wow, it's kind of slow. I've been to Thought Bubble, and Thought Bubble is considerably busier than this. I'm like, oh, just wait until Friday, Saturday. Check back with him on those days, and they're like, yeah, it's busy. Had lots of great conversations with him about it, multiple times about this. Went to the Black Crown panel. The Black Crown panel was the best panel of all the panels I went to. Of course, hosted by Shirley Bond, who's a very excited, enthusiastic person. She's very engaged to talk about her book. She was always awesome when she worked at Vertigo doing that, and she's so much pleasantly so with Black Crown. The creators there were awesome. They announced some new books. That was all fun. After it was over with, I asked Simon similar questions because in this, you'll see the Sid character in here, our ghost. He's looking through albums and looking at CD covers and whatnot. I'm like, so who made the choice as to what that art is that's there? And he's like, oh, that's all me. And I'm like, oh, wow. So you put Bad Motorfinger in there. You put this and that. And he was really excited that I knew who they were. He's like, yeah, I wanted him to look like it without actually being it because I wasn't sure we wouldn't get in trouble if I actually put the actual album cover in there. So I drew facsimiles that were close to that and then placed them in there and whatnot. So it was fun to talk music with him then a little bit. So all good stuff. Super excited for this book to continue on. I hope it sells well. People there, he said that he was excited by IDW because IDW was already talking about their excitement about what the trade was going to be like for the book and whatnot. So they're at least looking out as far as the first trade and being excited about that. But I'm hoping more than that because there's just some fabulous characters in this that are lots of fun. Trying to get myself a little more organized here. So I had the Funaran brothers signed their first issues of Ape Sapien. Issue number 1, of course, had Sebastian on it, and then issue number 4 was the first issue that Max did work on for that. So I had them sign those issues for me. Their signatures are symbology, basically. There's Max's symbols there, and there is Sebastian's, and that's how they sign their art on the art pages I have too, which is strange. But anyway, so I had Christopher Sebla sign Evolution. I wanted to talk to him about it. Like, wow, I told him I was really impressed of how